Hello, fellow F1 fantasy managers. My name is Tom, and you join me on yet another really hot and sweaty day in southeast England, where I'm going to try and battle through the heat to talk to you about the wildcard, the sentiment changes, Mr. Hackerman himself. If you haven't know, if you don't already know, there is someone pulling the strings on the F1 fantasy market, which is causing chaos. We're a couple of weeks into the summer break for F1 at the moment, still a couple of weeks to go, so I thought it might be a good time to do a video just to discuss what's happening so far and kind of give my opinion on what to do going forward. Have you already activated your wildcard? Are you thinking of doing it? Who knows? So as you can see, I'll just get straight into it. My budget at the moment is 109 million, which has gone up almost 1.5 million since the last race because I've been using the wildcard. So you can see down the bottom here, I've used 6 subs. I've got 6 left to do. So I'm being very cautious at the moment about who to use because I need to actually have a decent team going into Spa, so I need to be very careful at the moment. So at the moment, this is my team. It looks like a complete shambles because I've just been trying to catch the price rises. A couple of let's just move over to straight away to the F1 Fantasy Tracker website so we can actually see what's going on with the price changes. So this, you can see on this far right side, you can see changes since the last race. And you can see Alfa Romeo and Mercedes as constructors have gone up respectively 0.7 and 0.6 million. In the last 2 weeks, the F1 fantasy scene is probably pretty dead at the moment. No one's all the casual players are not really paying any attention probably to what's going on. No one's really making substitutions. The majority of substitutions are going to happen on an F1 weekend where people building up to the deadline, changing their teams, and people with knee-jerk reactions who are going to be changing their drivers and constructors around based on the race that's literally on their screen sort of right now. So we're 2 weeks in between races, the biggest gap between a race across the entire season, and we're seeing huge jumps. So clearly, in my mind, someone out there is using their botted accounts to pull the strings on the market, and as a result of that, we are seeing huge increases, and indeed down the other end of the scale, huge drops in value. And now, if you're paying close attention to what's going on, you can catch some of these rises and increase your budget. Is increasing your budget, the be all and end all? No, it's not. At the end of the day, if you've got, for example, 104 million, I've got 109 million. Yes, the 5 million I've got is really nice. It's the equivalent of upgrading possibly a Haas driver into, I don't know, like a Bottas, or even a Bottas into Alpine or whatever. You can upgrade one driver basically, or maybe slightly upgrade a couple of slots, but it's not the be all and end all. But I do think it's kind of important to build the budget where you can, just to have that option, so you can try and maximize the best team in a given week. So anyway, as you can see, the price changes on this right-hand side, they've gone mental. Hackerman's been pumping and dumping. Alfa Romeo, Mercedes, Hamilton, Latifi, Vettel are the biggest climbers. I've missed out on Vettel and Latifi, and because I've only got 6 substitutions left, I don't want to be jumping on because I'm not sure how much more they're going to rise. And any moment Hackerman could, flip the switch and Latifi and Vettel start dropping. So you have to keep a close eye on what's going on there with the sentiment changes. Speaking of sentiment changes, F1 Fantasy Tracker, a really good website to keep track of exactly what's going on in sentiment changes. So you can see, you come onto the sentiment page, you can see who's close to going up. You can see Vettel at the moment is on 85%, which means he is the closest to rising. The latest, you can see the 3 columns here. So in the last 12 hours, Vettel has increased by 9%. Latifi's gone up by 14%. In the last 3 hours, absolutely nothing's happened because Hackerman's either asleep, on holiday, or just got a bit bored. And then the latest, which is, I believe, within the last hour, Vettel and Latifi have both gone up by a single percent. And again, no one else is really doing anything. There's one, Gasly's gone down by 1. And then in the constructor side of things, absolutely nothing happening, except you see a big old minus 99 from Alfa Romeo. And that's because Alfa Romeo are getting pumped by the Hackerman. So if we go quickly back to the prices, you can see price changes today. Alfa Romeo up 0.1, and they're actually the biggest climbers so far in the off-season of 0.7 million. So is it worth, jumping on the wild card right now? I'm not entirely sure because I don't know, I've just pointed out that the sentiment tracker has just completely dried up. Hackerman is not really doing anything at the moment, so I don't know what he's doing, but it's the market's kind of died again. But if you keep a close eye on this website, you can see when it's going to pick up again, and just keep an eye on the sentiment, see what's happening, particularly the 12 hourly. When Hackerman's awake and he's working hard, you'll see 12 hourly updates of like 50, 60, 70%. So you'll see people jump from 0 to basically an increase in one go. And in fact, if we scroll down, you can actually see the graph here, which shows, like, it's a bit of a mess to be honest, but The last 10 days of sentiment changes. If I show you this with the constructors, it might be a bit clearer because it's less messy. So you can see, if you look at this, for example, the green line here, you can see Mercedes initially, right after the last race, were getting pumped. They went straight up, and now they're coming back down again. So Hackerman is getting clever. He's pumping people, or he's pumping people up to like 98, 99%. So you're watching the sentiment track and you're thinking, yes, we're going to get him, and then bam, they freeze and then they slowly drop again. And so there is the possibility you're getting baited into bringing people in. Like myself, have fallen for that trap. I brought in Gasly, and he went up to like 99%, and then he's frozen. Now he's coming back down again. I've taken a gamble on some other people like Alfa Romeo. I saw them go up a couple of points. I thought it looks like Hackerman is like the real deal with Alfa Romeo, so I just went for it, and I've managed to gain quite a bit of value of that. But you can see, there's huge ups and downs. Look at Williams, for example. They've gone from minus 88 all the way up to, like, what is that, 92, and then they've sort of leveled off. So Hackerman's baiting there. He's brought them right down, brought them up again. So Hackerman's just playing around. Alfa Romeo up and down because they've been rising, then dropping back to zero, rising, dropping back to zero, and sort of slowly going up and down. So the whole thing, to be honest, is a bit of a mess. But I would say if you're going to try and in the next couple of weeks, Hackerman could be busy again. If you want to use your wild card, it is potentially the best time to use it if you haven't already. I don't know how much activity is going to be, but if you keep an eye on this website, like I say, when Hackerman's active, you'll know about it, because the 12-hourly updates are going to be big swings. You won't see ones and twos like you do at the moment, ones and twos. Or you can see Latifi and Vettel are the highest numbers at the moment, 9 and 14. But when Hackerman's really pumping them, you'll see 50 or more, like in the last 12 hours. And that's when you want to potentially gamble on jumping on them, because you think Hackerman's going to boost them up. So it's a bit unfortunate, because in general, to build your budget before Hackerman, came into the game, it was literally just a case of picking the best drivers and hoping that they would rise, because as people naturally, organically bring the drivers into the team, their value goes up. And across, a race week, you're probably going to see someone go up 0.1, maybe 0.2 if they're really popular. But yeah, the extreme swings we're seeing this season are indicative of the fact that there is this infamous Hackerman. So I guess my next question I'm going to try and answer is, if you haven't already used the wildcard, is it worth using it? And these blooming adverts on this website are really driving me mad, though. They've pumped on all these adverts, which is really annoying. Stop giving me adverts. But so yeah, is the wildcard useful right now? So in the last 2 weeks, like I say, if we go back to my team, I've gained about almost 1.5 million. So a couple of points of that have been organic, but the rest of it's all been using the wildcard and jumping on people like Lewis Hamilton, who's gone up, like the Mercedes have gone up, although they're sort of coming back down again, and like the Alfa Romeo. So I've used my wildcard to jump on those people by monitoring their sentiment values. Is it worth it to jump on them, to jump on the wildcard now? At this precise moment of recording, I would say no, but if you keep an eye on the sentiment values, if you start seeing those jumps, then yes, probably it is the best time for the rest of the season. Because for the rest of the season, this is still like one of the biggest gaps you're going to have. I think when we come back in a couple of weeks' time, it's like a triple header, if I'm not mistaken. Then there's like a couple of weeks break and then another triple header. So between races, which is the opportunity you get to use your wildcard, you're only going to get like 1 or maybe 2 week period where where Hackerman's potentially going to be busy. Well, he's already proven he's been busy for the last couple of weeks, and he could well be busy again for the next couple of weeks. And obviously the faster you can, the earlier you can build your budget, is the better, because if you build your budget now, then your team's going to be potentially stronger immediately, as opposed to holding off and hoping Hackerman's busy again in a month or two's time, when there's only like 4 races left or something, and then it's like, yeah, my budget's gone up like $1 million, but there's like 4 races left to actually capitalize on the benefit of that. So I would say keep a very close eye on the sentiments. Use the F1 Fantasy Tracker website, or you can just keep an eye on, if you can remember the bars here. It's not very easy to remember. It's a lot easier to see the actual like 12-hourly updates to see who's actually getting pumped and dumped. So yeah, I would say that now is probably the best time to use the wildcard, but I would make sure that people are actually, there's actual activity going on at the moment. And also when you use your wildcard, like I've done, when you get down to about 5 or 6 substitutions left, slow right up. It's not like FPL where you get unlimited transfers. You only get 12 substitutions, so use it wisely. Take a couple of gambles, and that's the only way you're going to actually get any value, by taking a couple of gambles. You might get baited, but you might also make some money. I've got 6 substitutions left. I may take another gamble in the next week or so, depending on what's happening with the sentiment, just to try and gain a little bit more value. But I also got to be careful that Hackerman may at some point suddenly start dumping an asset that I have, and that means I'm going to have to desperately sell them before, for example, Hamilton. I've currently got 500,000 locked in with him, but if Hackerman suddenly gets busy and starts dumping off the Hamilton asset, then that money that I've got invested in him at the moment is not safe until I substitute him out. So if I see Hamilton starting to get dropped off massively on the sentiment bar, I will immediately kick him out my team, bring in someone who looks like potentially rising. For example, Vettel, could bring him in, and then get bank that value of Hamilton. Hopefully, you get some more extra random value from Vettel. But you've got to be careful with the subs you got left, because you ultimately want to get back to a decent team for the next race. And when you're bringing in random assets like Alfa Romeo and Vettel and whatever, just to try and boost your budget, you want to make sure you have a few free substitutions to get back. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with. Sorry. Excuse me, it's been a while since I've done a video. I'm not used to talking as much. You don't want to be stuck with a rubbish team for the next race, because ultimately this is a game about fantasy points, not about fantasy budget, although the budget is helpful in getting fantasy points. But anyway, that's enough of that. So yeah, that pretty much sums up my thoughts, I guess. At the moment, I would say, to summarize, keep an eye on the sentiment tracker, look who's rising, look who's dropping, take the odd gamble, and sort of bank some substitutions for the last few days going into, so we can see what happens in the practice sessions in Spa, and make sure you actually come out with the strongest team you possibly can going into the race. So yeah, overall, bit of a mess. Hackerman's made it more interesting, but also, should one man have that much power over us? No, but he does, and that's just what we got to deal with. This is part of the game now. Initially I was thinking, I was actually really kind of annoyed, and I am still kind of annoyed that someone's actually got this power over the game, and that Play On just sort of let it happen. But you just kind of have to accept the situation that Play On, the people that make the game, aren't going to do anything about it. They are, as always, zero communication. They don't want to tell us anything. They occasionally freeze the market and then unpause it. At the moment, so far in the summer break, they have given Hackerman free reign to do whatever he wants. So if that free reign continues, yes, I would say use the wildcard. Just keep an eye on the sentiment values. That pretty much sums it up. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, and thanks very much for everyone who commented on the post I put on about a week or so ago, giving me suggestions of how to improve my videos. A lot of you guys said, how do we increase the budget, what's going on with the sentiment and everything, which is why I thought I'd record this video today. Hopefully this has been of some use to you guys, and I'll be back again. I probably won't be back again until the race week for Spa, unless I think of another video that I want to do and have the time to record it. So yeah, I'm going to be coming back to, it's going to be a really interesting one in Spa as well, because there might be some more upgrades, and we've got the likes of Lewis Hamilton, who's on this double race streak. Do we want Lewis Hamilton on our team? And yeah, so it's going to be an interesting video when I come back and discuss team selection for Spa, but that will be in another week or so's time. As always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Hope it's been useful. And if you've got any comments, let me know. Let's have a conversation about what's going on. Is there a hacker man? Am I just being completely cynical and actually it's just organic? I don't believe that, but you may. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. Catch you soon. Bye-bye.